What's up, guys? So I want to share with you the story of the time that I got catfished. And I can't believe I've never told this story on this channel. I guess I honestly just kind of forgot about it. It was a long time ago. I want to say like 4, 5, 6 years ago with this guy I met on grindr. So again, this was a while back when, things move really quickly with social media and apps and technology. And I think at that time, the concept of catfishing existed, but I guess nowadays I'm way more skeptical when I talk to someone on an app. And at the time, I didn't have that. I was just more naive. And anyway, so this is a guy that I started talking to on grindr. And since then, I've had very normal interactions on grindr. I've had very normal dates from grindr. But at this time, and this was back when I lived in New York City, back then it was extremely rare for me to have a conversation with somebody on grindr that actually flowed, where the person asked me questions about myself and I asked them questions, and like an emotionally intelligent conversation with somebody more substantive than the average person on grindr. We had exchanged more pictures, and he sent other pictures where it was, the same person from the profile picture, around my age, attractive, very charming looking, and he was also very charming with his words, and very mature. So, I was kind of smitten because you have this interaction on an app that you're not used to having. It's very refreshing, especially when you're attracted to the person, but you're also attracted to them. You're attracted to them physically, but also like intellectually and emotionally, just based on the conversation. And eventually we hopped off the app and started texting. And I would say within a few days, he said, I want to take you out on a date. Let's go on a date. Again, not at all used to, whether it's grindr or not. I was not used to, still not used to, men courting me and being like, I want to take you on a date, and that kind of like traditional mentality. So I was like, yeah, I would love to, whatever. And we said we were going to meet in the next few days. And in the meantime, I got so, giddy about meeting this guy and like, who is this guy? And, all this stuff, that I Googled him, which I don't know if I'd ever done that before. Like, I like building up a mystery with somebody and getting to know them for how they present themselves, meaning the old school way, because I think you get rid of a lot of that allure and charm and mystique when you Google somebody and you find out all these things and you see all these pictures or like, I remember I Googled one guy once and I realized that he was one of those people who goes on rants on Facebook that are just completely useless and don't actually accomplish anything, but I feel like people do that just for attention, and I got so turned off. So anyway, I Googled this guy out of excitement and just being curious and wanting to know more. And I remember this feeling of like utter confusion, because the person I Googled, I found the name, I found all the things that he had said were compatible with what I found. Like it all made sense. I saw, that he worked at the same company, had the same role, went to the same college, but it was a different person. It was a different human being in the pictures. I think it was like LinkedIn or Facebook or something. And, in the moment, you're so confused and disappointed that you're like, no, there has to be some explanation, right? So in my mind, I thought, oh, maybe this is his dad. Maybe they have the same name, right? Because in America, a lot of people have the same name as their father, but they're like the junior version. I was like, maybe it's his dad. And, that would explain it. Because this guy in the pictures was like twice my age, not a looker at all. But then, common sense comes through and you're like, this doesn't make sense. His father has the exact same name, exact same job, exact same company, exact same college, and just happens to be 20 years older and not really look anything like him. Same race, and that was about it. There was nothing else in common. So I was totally crushed and puzzled. And it's a feeling, it's a really horrible feeling when you feel like you've been manipulated by somebody and you just feel stupid and all those things. And at this point we were, texting by this point off grindr. So the next time he texted me, which was I think hours for me discovering this, he's like, hey, how's your day going? And I'm like, look, like, is there something you need to tell me? And he was like, I don't know, and I was like, you're catfishing me. Why are you catfishing me? Are you catfishing me? Like, I wanted him to address it just directly. And he said, it's crazy how it's funny how you can corner somebody, you get somebody in a corner and they still just can't be vulnerable and be truthful. And he kept kind of, zigzagging around it, skirting around it. And he said something like, no, I'm not He kept denying it until I was like, I Googled you, I found you, like, you're not who you say you are. And then he didn't say, yes, I am catfishing you, but he said something like, I can explain in person. In person, I'll be able to explain to you. And so he didn't, it's like at that point, he realized that I caught on, so he wasn't outright denying it. I mean, if there really is a simple explanation, you can just explain to the person, right? Or you can call them and explain. But there is no explanation other than this person is lying to you. And because I'm a very, logical person, I was trying to explain to him. I was like, you do realize if we were going to meet, I was going to find out and I was going to not be interested anymore because you're a liar and you're a manipulator. And again, it was the messages of, you don't understand, I can explain this better in person. Needless to say, obviously I stopped speaking to the guy. I don't know if I blocked him or just stopped answering his messages. But that kind of messed with me for a while because it's something you hear about happening to other people, but then once it happens to you, you're like, holy shit, people are nuts. People will do anything to feel validated, to get attention, to talk to somebody maybe who otherwise wouldn't be interested in them. The good part about, this kind of experience, of course, is that it prepares you for future experiences, right? Now, when I think something's off, I always rush to let's meet in person, or let's do a video call, let's do a phone call to help with those suspicions, right? Because I'm at a point now where I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to start to get emotionally invested in a connection that could be completely fraudulent. Do you guys have any catfishing stories?